Good evening, traders. How are you all doing tonight? It's now January 30th, about 10 p.m., and we're going to do a quick update on Ethereum because I liquidated my position for Ethereum because criteria were not met, and I do believe that we are now entering a slightly bearish market for Ethereum. So I wanted to cover all the bases, and I'd like to go over it. If you guys enjoy these videos, I'd really appreciate an upvote on steemit. Make sure you guys also like, subscribe, and share to all this stuff on YouTube and on Twitter as well. So this is the first prediction that I made where it started to apex into here a few days ago. I think this was on the 24th, right? So about 6 days ago. So this was the first buy opportunity, if you guys remember. And of course, the target was right there, around 11,000, 12,000 range. And surely enough, we hit it, right? We hit that range with flying colors. Now, the only issue is that we didn't hit this specific target because this wave has now failed. Now, I want to talk about Elliott wave in detail. So every time I do a technical analysis, it's not only a slight prediction, but it's a majority of it is a technical analysis, right? Where it's also aiming to show you guys how to think and how I think specifically. And it's not financial advice, it's more so educational, and that's how it's always going to be. And hopefully over time, I do this for a living, right? I've been doing it for a while now, and Ethereum is what got me started, so I'm very nostalgic about it as well. So what got me started was, of course, Ethereum, and I love this coin. So a lot of times I will talk about theory as well, which is very important to cover. So I'm going to talk about some of the theory with Elliott wave, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with as well because you've seen me do it so many times. But for the people that are not, let's get into it. So Elliott wave states that there are 5 motive waves up like this, okay? 5 motive waves up, and it's always 5, guys, okay? If there's a clean wave up, there's always 5 like this. And then after 5 happens, what always happens is an A, B, C, like this somehow. Just as an example, we're not going to go over A, B, C, D, E. We're just going to go over this, okay? And then what happens after this is it tries to break out into an impulse wave, right? It tries to break out into some impulse wave, and sometimes it fails. So because it fails, unfortunately, we get extended types of corrections because the market just could not push it up further. So what we call this is right here, you guys can see it here, there's double Elliott wave combo. So now this makes a W point, and think of X as for failure, right? X failed like that. And then we get a Y down here. And then after a Y, we get some sort of extended impulse move up again, or it tries to break out, and sometimes it doesn't break out again. So then we get another extended correction, and these are common as well. I've seen it a few times already now this year, or last year rather, but of course double Elliott waves are much more common. And then if we get a triple Elliott wave combo, we denote this as W, as X, then as Y, and then it tries another attempt. So this would be an X, and then this is Z, or Z, however you say it. So there, now instead of getting a 3-wave structure, ABC would just be 3, right? WXY would be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then a Z would be 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So that is what we call a triple Elliott wave combo, where it fails to make impulse waves up, and unfortunately that can happen. So my criteria was very clear. My criteria was that it needed to stay above $1,100 for us to consider this an uptrend. And unfortunately now we can easily discount this, and we can say that unfortunately it has failed. 1,100 did not hold, and there's a very set rule. Let me explain it to you guys. Elliott wave states that wave 4 correction should not retrace into wave 1 territory by more than a wick on a leveraged market. So we need to treat wave 1 here as a very clear resistance. Now if we're retracing to, for example, right here, okay, to right here, I would consider this unfortunately a failed wave if it's a really clear body in it. Not only that, if for example this is making a channel like this, okay, if it's making a channel like that and it breaks not only the channel resistance support, the channel support, and it also breaks the wave 1 support, then unfortunately, if it goes like that, then we consider this a failed impulse wave. So now I'm gonna actually talk about some correction targets as well now, which you guys might not like to hear, but you guys remember when I predicted a target correction of 850, which I said wasn't likely, and we actually hit 7, like we hit this, which was like, oh my goodness, we actually hit that. And then I predicted this one where it's gonna hit 1075, no, 1120, and it hit 1073. So corrections are fairly common, right? And we have to always anticipate them. So now that I know that this is actually a failed impulse wave up, I'm not even consider it an impulse wave anymore. Now, let's talk about other things as well here. On the 4-hour chart, what we're seeing is a dragonfly doji right here, okay? We're seeing a dragonfly doji right here, and I'm not really sure if this is going to be a support or not. It should be, right? It should 100% be a support. But unfortunately, because it's actually failing a lot of these rules for Elliott wave, we'll see. We'll see what happens, okay? So I've actually liquidated my entire Ethereum position already. Like I mentioned in my last video, I had 120 Ethereum gone. No more. I've closed all my positions already. But we also have to keep in mind that we took the chance right here, right? We took the chance right here on the breakout that I was talking about. We set our stop loss slightly lower than it, and we did target around the $1,200 range. I targeted around there, we'll say 1,200. So this was a pretty good risk to reward already after it broke out. My stop loss was slightly around 1050 actually. 1050 right around, it was really, really tight. Actually, maybe 1025, we'll say. So my risk to reward was 4.51. Am I going to take all these chances whenever I see a 4.51 risk to reward ratio? Absolutely, I will. Despite it hitting target or not, it's sometimes irrelevant to me because I want to seize these moments where there are massive opportunities. So I closed my position earlier. Actually, I took half of my profit near the top, and then I ended up taking the rest of my profit just a while ago earlier today. So I'm very happy with the profit that I've made. I apologize for saying it so casually. Sometimes I just feel like I'm speaking to my friends, and with my friends, we shout out numbers and stuff all the time. So excuse my comfort level when it comes to talking about money and my particular position size. I apologize in advance if it doesn't sound too, if it sounds like not right that I should say it. So it should be taboo. So I'll try really hard not to do it again. I don't wanna make it seem like I'm talking myself up or anything like that, or make anyone feel bad, just put it that way. So I'm sorry about that. I'm Canadian, guys. I'm sorry. We're sorry. I'm gonna go back to my igloo now and eat my moose jerky. It's so good. Have you guys ever had moose jerky? It's actually really good, believe it or not. Or bison burgers. Canadians love bison burgers. Ooh, so good. On a cold night like this, my igloo is definitely keeping me pretty warm, guys. So unfortunately, this failed. I no longer consider this an impulse wave up because it failed already, okay? It failed. Simple as that, guys. I see this as a failed wave, and there's no other way to see it right now. There's literally, absolutely not a single way that we can take a look at this right now, okay? I mean, we would have to take a look at this as 1, this is 2, and, somewhere 3 up there, and 4 and 5. But we have to look at this and we have to say, well, this is the 3rd impulse wave up. It has to make a very clean impulse wave up. And this simply cannot retrace to that territory. So this is now entirely failed on my end, and I will not be playing Ethereum until we actually get a little bit more of a better entry. So my swing positions are basically that I was focusing on prior to this one was basically Ethereum and also ICX, and I'm also looking at Stellar Lumens as well, which is a very hot pick of mine that I will go over right after this video. So now, unfortunately, guys, that has failed, and now we're going to talk about RSI, okay? We're going to talk about RSI, and unfortunately, we just see it on a tear, okay? We see it on a tear right now. What was previously a support on the uptrend is now failed for right here, okay? We've now failed, and we broke out of this support right here for RSI. And you guys know how I feel about RSI. I'm a heavy RSI trader. This little tip that poked out right there, just the tip, unfortunately broke down. So the next RSI zone that we're going to basically be looking at is most likely right here. We're going to see what happens. I mean, it's really hard for me to believe that we are actually going to get on an uptrend right now because we've broken these simple rules of mine according to Elliott Wave. So if we look on the daily as well, I'm sure there we go, right there, okay? I'm going to talk about Brown's RSI rule with you guys right here. So Brown's RSI rule states that between, say 40 right here and a very high RSI, that would be considered a very bullish zone. But around 60 to very low RSI, that would be a very bearish zone, right? But right now, because we simply cannot break above 60-ish RSI, it's hard for me to consider that there's going to be any type of uptrend, unfortunately, right? And what I'm seeing is kind of around this area, just generally around this range right now. I see this as RSI support that just wants to break, right? We have to ask ourselves, how many times can we pound on a support before it eventually breaks down if it does not get higher highs? And unfortunately, it can only pound so much before it actually does break down. And I do think that it's actually going to break down. So take a look at it, guys, right? We see this kind of pattern right here, right? We see this kind of wedge pattern that's happening that wants to go really down. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to consider this a failed impulse wave. See, notice right here, right now, like this candle is actually getting bearish already on the daily, even though we're only 5 hours in. This one's getting more bearish as well now, right? Before it was a green dragonfly doji. And another thing that's very prominent that I wanted to talk about is this right here, guys. Unfortunately, this right here was a massive trendline support. So I'm going to pull up my bitfinex here so I can get my RSI here for you guys. So it's going to pull up in 1 second here. So let's go to Ethereum right now. So let's go to like a 3-hour chart, for example. And what we're going to see about it right here is this, guys. Take a look at it. We actually crossed over under the 55 moving average already. We could have barely stayed above this range. So this was basically the time around I said it was reaching an apex. Right here is where it broke out. So it was very, think of it like that, where when it breaks out of a critical triangle, right, like a critical apex, it is also going to be the moment where these EMAs will start to fan out. And what we can see very clearly right now is this. I don't know if this was really be considered support. We have to think of this candle right here as maybe an inverted hammer that shot up, or a shooting star where the bulls attempted to push it up, but it was rejected. So if you look at it closely right here, all right, if you look at it closely right here, usually what this long wick implies is the bulls have tried to push it up to the 55 EMA, but the bears simply just pushed it down right away. And now with this candle right here, I don't know if it's going to be a support candle of any sort yet or not. We look on a 6-hour chart, and we're probably going to see it pretty close to the 55 EMA. There you go, right here, okay? This candle right here, to me, is the biggest rejection candle to me. So this is strong, where the bulls tried to push it up above the 55 EMA, but it was actually just shot down right away. And the bear said, no, not today, said Serial Pharrell from Games of Thrones. I miss Game of Thrones. I can't wait till next season. Excuse me there. On the 12-hour, what we notice is we're rejecting right here, right? I just think it's going to be, unfortunately, a matter of time before we break down. So some targets, guys, some targets, which I don't want to say, unfortunately, but I have to, because I'm also planning to hold a lot of Ethereum. So first target for correction will basically be between 900 and 930 there, and the second one will be in the $700 ranges, probably, I'm guessing, right around here. This one got to 791. I do think that this one could possibly reach the $700 range over here. So yeah, I mean, think of it like this as well, okay, guys? If this, we were hoping for a channel to form, right? We were hoping for a channel to form or some sort of wedge in there, and it's not even forming that at all. It couldn't even get to there as the first wave. So unfortunately, I do see a lot of attempts right now to push it up. but the bears are clearly winning. So now this is basically where I stand, guys. I wanted to update you guys with my position as well and let you know that I've closed my position. I've taken the profit already. I've entered since, around 1025, 1050 ranges there. I took some profit at 12, took some profit at 11, and here we are. We took the chance, so congratulations to all the traders that actually took this opportunity. There were some massive gains to be made, and I do apologize, guys, for getting this call wrong, but I want you guys to know that we are like weathermen, okay? We're like the weatherman. We try to predict the weather, but we can only do so well. But the best way to deal with the weather is to just look at the weather, right? We look at the weather and then we dress accordingly to what we see. And that is the same thing that goes for reacting in the market. So once we react to situations in the market, as it happens, it allows us to make better decisions rather than just keep predicting. Now, we also have to talk about the resistance really quickly. How do we derive these resistances? These resistances are clear as day to me, where it's going to be the most relevant points down here and down to over here. And usually, guys, we always end up taking multiple bounces, right? We end up correcting to at least a decent level according to Fibonacci. So, I mean, if we do Fibonacci from when the breakout began over here, what we'll notice is that it's retraced about a 0.5 level only so far. And we have to ask ourselves, is that it? Is that really it? It's like, nah, it can't be just it, okay? So take a look at this, guys, on the daily right now, okay? The volume is really low, even though we're about 4 hours in only, but nevertheless, it is pretty low, okay? It is pretty low, nevertheless. So these are my thoughts on Ethereum, and this is where I stand. I plan to see if we notice on Ethereum as well, I want to be very clear, okay, about one thing. On Ethereum, ever since November, we have always bounced above this 55 EMA, okay? And if you guys have noticed, this 55 EMA in here, so $1,000 is actually a very, very likely target, first of all, and if that target fails, then we will unfortunately finally fall below the 55 EMA. Ethereum has been one of the most bullish coins for as long as I can remember, but don't discount for a moment that we do not fall below the 55 EMA. Now let's test the 100 EMA and see how that looks. We're far from even looking anywhere bearish from an investor perspective. Anyone who's investing in Ethereum and holding for a long time, you guys have absolutely nothing to worry about except for how much pain you can tolerate. Investors need to have a lot of pain, and you guys need to have balls of steel, okay? Otherwise, you guys might panic. You have to look at the moving average on a very high time frame from an investor's perspective to understand that we are still in a very bullish market. So we have to understand what is bullish and what is bearish. To short-term traders, this is bearish. To a long-term investor, this is not bearish in any way right now, right? It's still a very bullish market, and you don't need to look at it every single day if you're investing and holding for the long haul. So this is my thoughts for Ethereum quickly. I really wanted to catch you guys up with my position to hold myself accountable. I'm not just going to do a TA and leave you guys hanging, okay? I'm going to make sure that I follow up on it very diligently to hold myself accountable and give you guys play-by-plays as the days go by where I see more opportunity. Sharing is caring. If I see opportunity, I will 100% share it with you guys as well, all right? Other than that, have yourselves a great night, traders. I would really appreciate an upvote on steemit. If you guys have pets, I really mean this. If you guys have a pet and you're looking to make some extra income, open up a steemit account and start blogging about your pet. You guys would be blown away, okay, by how many people profit by blogging about their pet. My toolbar actually has a favorite to trending. If you guys notice, everything is all personal and crypto, and then there's cats. I like to go to the cat section because it alleviates a lot of my stress during a bad day. Do you guys know that Grumpy Cat? Yes, Grumpy Cat. He's worth $2 million on steemit. That is right, guys. So I love to go to places like this and just check it out. If you guys have a pet blog, you guys can get lots of extra income from 100, 200, and I will be happy to promote you guys as well because I love animals in general. So other than that, have yourselves a wonderful night, traders, and hopefully we'll see each other at about $1,000 and then we'll go from there. Have yourselves a great night, traders, and take care. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. Bye now.